because readers sent death threats like crazy. This system dragged me into a tragic romance novel. My mission: protect the fragile female lead from her miserable fate. Just help her escape that trauma. And I am good, right? Yep, pretty much. Say no more. To save an innocent girl, I decided to sacrifice myself. I would distract the evil villainess directly. I stared at her stunning drop-dead gorgeous tsundere face, and tears of pure devotion drooled from the corner of my mouth. Feeling my gaze, she arched an eyebrow and spat. What the hell are you looking at? Oh, a spicy one. I like her even more. Whoa, where the hell did I end up? I gasped, waking up with a splitting headache. Fun fact, that exact line appears in isekai novels 100 times more than you have ever gotten lucky. What the hell is that? Before I could finish, a voice popped into my head. Ridiculous. Lin Yufan, do not need luck. Why? One word. Handsome. Just like the absolute legends watching this video right now. Host, have you read web novels before? The system chimed in. Yup. It took about 10 minutes to figure out my situation. Basically, my run in the real world was over. Yeah, I died. Now, I was trapped in a high school romance novel. The female lead story was so horribly tragic that the readers rioted. So, some higher power decided to rewrite the ending, sent this system, and dragged my dead self into the plot. My mission is simple: keep the female lead from getting tortured half to death before we hit the grand finale. Not a bad gig, honestly. Might as well make the best of it. A living dog is better than a dead lion. How hard can it be to play bodyguard and save a girl? Like most web novel protagonists, I have no family or attachments. This new life might actually be an upgrade. What? You are asking how I get by without luck. Do you not have a girlfriend? To anyone asking that, let me ask you, have you ever heard of anime dolls or pocket cups? Just kidding. Get out of here. Lin Yefan would never need those. A few days later, the system hooked me up with a transfer, and I walked into class 3. You know the drill. Today was also the day the original female lead, Su Chinkin, transferred in. The exact start of her nightmare. We stood at the front of the classroom as the teacher introduced us. But the whispers from the class completely drowned her out. Holy crap, the new guy is gorgeous. He completely destroys our school hunk, right? He is so hot. The girls whispered, eyes sparkling. I flashed them a quick smile. Obviously. Tell me something I do not know. Did he just smile at me? No, he was looking at me. Honestly, their reaction did not surprise me one bit. The guys were losing it too. Man, the transfer girl is so pure, like a little white flower. My youth starts today, boys. I am taking you all down. Their eyes were glued to Su Chinking. To be fair, I had observed her earlier. She really was beautiful. She wore a simple uniform, head down, looking completely helpless. The ultimate female lead starter pack, but she was not my type. This innocent little flower vibe just was not for me. While the teacher kept talking, I let my gaze wander around the classroom. My eyes skipped the crowd and landed on a girl in the middle, chin resting on her hand, wavy hair draping her shoulders, her school jacket wide open. Her delicate eyes flared with natural, arrogant defiance. A textbook spicy, rebellious rich girl. I raised an eyebrow. This was definitely Xia Wangsun, our gorgeous villainess. She was stunning, even if the novel made her out to be a brat. But hey, I judge a book by its cover. And she completely nailed my type. Sensing my blatant, shameless stare, she frowned, coldly looking up at me. Her eyes warned me to back off. Instead of flinching, I just smirked at her. Once Su Chinking and I wrapped up our introductions, the teacher assigned our seats. And then, it was time for actual class. For a battle-tested adult soul like mine, sitting in a high school math class was absolute torture. Listening to the teacher's sleep-inducing lecture, I felt my soul leaving my body. Never expected the biggest obstacle to saving the female lead would be going to school. If I have to survive this torture all day, how am I supposed to save anyone? Hey Arthur, did you even go to high school? Get out of here. When the bell finally rang, I was half dead. Just as I leaned down to sleep, the vibe in the room shifted. Something was off. I looked up to see Xia Wangsun marching aggressively towards Su Chinking's desk. Su Chinking was packing up her books, but seeing her coming, she panicked like a cornered rabbit. Before Xia Wangsun could even open her mouth, she bolted upright, stuttered about a sudden stomachache, and vanished into thin air. I leaned back, totally baffled. It was literally the first class of our first day. They had not even spoken a word to each other. Why was Xia Wangsun already gunning for her? This hostility made zero sense. Wait, how did the novel explain it again? The boy's reaction to the transfer girl made her feel upstaged. Oh, you are alive. The system had not spoken in 1,000 words. I thought it retired. While roasting the system in my head and staring at Xia Wangsun, she turned around, absolutely fuming because her target had escaped. She caught me staring, her beautiful, arrogant face contorted with pure annoyance, and she snapped, "What the hell are you looking at?" Oh, redirecting her anger at me. I did not flinch. Instead, I smirked and raised an eyebrow. My future wife. That one line made the entire classroom fall dead silent. The students waiting for drama stared at me in absolute shock. Even the girls who wanted to defend me were speechless. Xia Wangsun froze, her beautiful eyes wide, utterly unable to believe her ears. In her entire life, nobody had ever dared to play such a shameless, cheeky joke on a high and mighty heiress like her. Honestly, if this world had internet brainred, they would be used to it. What did you just call me? Once she processed it, she lost her mind. She stormed over and swung a kick straight at me, watching her leg fly toward me. I did not even flinch. I looked at her with dead seriousness and said, "You can kick me, but could you take off your shoes first? Actually, if you are not wearing white ankle socks, take those off too." The classroom erupted in gasps. Xia Wangsun's leg froze mid-air, her gorgeous face flushing a brilliant crimson all the way to her ears. Her fierce attitude was instantly shattered, replaced by pure, helpless embarrassment. You shameless creep, shut up." Trembling with rage and humiliation, she did not even think before, lunging forward and slapping her soft, delicate hand over my mouth, feeling her palm against my lips. My inner demon took over. I stuck out my tongue and gave her palm a playful lick. She jumped like a startled cat, pulling her hand back instantly. She stared at her wet palm in sheer disgust and horror. Then, she aggressively wiped it on my shoulder, as if I were toxic. I casually patted my uniform, looked at her flushed, fuming face, and smiled. "Soft hands, by the way. You wait," Xia Wangsun hissed, her face so red it could melt. She stomped her foot and fled, completely forgetting about her feud with Su Qingqing. Before I could even finish smirking at her escape, an incredibly annoying voice cut through the air. "You are Lin Yafan, right?" A guy with styled hair and decent looks, but an unbelievably arrogant face, stormed over and slammed his hand on my desk. If I had to guess, this was the original male lead, Lu. But since Su Qingqing just arrived, he had not fallen for her yet. Right now, he was still playing Xia Wangsun's White Knight, basically a Lu Jincheng glared down at me, radiating righteous fury. "You just transferred here, and you are already harassing female classmates. What kind of man are you? Apologize to Wangsun right now." I looked up and scoffed. "Nice guys line up behind the dogs, buddy." I stood up, slamming my shoulder into his, sending him stumbling. The main reason the original female lead suffered was this idiot constantly playing both sides. He wanted to eat from the bowl while eyeing the pot, resulting in tragedy for both girls. I was not about to show him any respect. Calling him a nice guy was a massive stretch, but mocking him like this felt incredibly satisfying. I guess that morning stunt completely fried our arrogant villainess's brain. For the rest of the day, Xia Wangsun was surprisingly quiet. She did not bother Su Qingqing once, and did not even look her way. But during class, I could feel a murderous gaze burning holes into my back. I did not need to look to know who it was. Honestly, it was hilarious. Meanwhile, Lu Jincheng was having a blast. Since Xia Wangsun was not causing any trouble, he spent the whole day trying to get Su Qingqing's attention. He was constantly offering her erasers or getting her water. Su Qingqing, being the classic introverted girl, had no idea how to say no. She just blushed and whispered thank you like a little mouse, and sat there like a frightened rabbit. Meanwhile, Lu Jincheng was scoring points with Su Qingqing while constantly glancing at Xia Wangsun to see if she was jealous. I almost laughed out loud. This guy wanted to play the field so bad. Without checking if he can afford the electric bill, the system was dead quiet too. Since the villainess was not acting up, I just slacked off in class all day, occasionally blocking Lu Jincheng's pathetic attempts to flirt. Suddenly the bell rang. With a loud retro bell, the classroom erupted. I stretched, glanced at the clock, and completely lost it. 6 p.m. Has the author of this book ever been to high school? What high school lets out at 6 p.m.? Where are the evening study sessions? No studying until 11 p.m. Dismissal at 6 is more punctual than my old office job. No wonder this is a romance novel. These kids have zero responsibilities, so they spend all day dating and fighting. Host, ignore the plot holes and just roll with it. Fiction logic serves the plot. Did I ask you? Whatever. Getting out at 6 means I can hit the net cafe for some gaming. The author clearly had no life, not even writing mobile games into this universe. I packed up, slung my bag over my shoulder, and strolled out of the school gates. Near the campus, there was a narrow alley that was the only way to my cheap apartment. Surrounded by old brick walls, it was totally deserted, giving off a classic gangster movie vibe. Just as I reached the middle, I stopped. The exit ahead was completely blocked by a group of 7 or 8 guys. I squinted to size them up. They were not exactly hardened criminals with tattoos and cigarettes. Most of them wore school uniforms, with a few from my own school, though they had customized them to look like delinquents. The rest wore uniforms from nearby schools, sporting messy perms and leaning against the walls, looking like absolute clowns. Right in the middle stood someone surprising yet expected. Xia Wang, no neat school uniform this time. Instead, she wore a black leather biker jacket, a tight white tee, and slim-fit jeans that perfectly highlighted her long, killer legs. Seriously, sis. We left the classroom at the exact same time. When did you have time to change? magic closet. Xia Wangson stood there with her arms crossed, chin tilted high, looking down on me like some haughty queen. I shoved my hands in my pockets and chuckled. Well, look who it is. Why aren't you heading home after class? Mom had to bring a bunch of minions to corner me. You are dead meat, Lin. You. My words instantly set her off again. Her pretty face turned icy. She pointed a finger at me, gritting her teeth. I told you this morning to watch your back. I have never been so humiliated in my entire life. Humiliated. My eyes widened in fake shock. Is calling you mom humiliating? Or did you hate me licking your hand? Tons of people would kill for that and I still wouldn't do it. Besides, saying your hands are soft was a compliment on your skin. You should be thanking me. Honestly, you've never been humbled, have you? If it were that younger classmate of mine, she would have sold me her socks by now. You are absolutely shameless. Her chest heaved with rage. She turned to the guys behind her and screamed, "Get him, beat him half to death. Just keep him breathing. I will pay the hospital bills." Hearing their rich benefactor call the shots, the guys got pumped up like they were on adrenaline, cracking their knuckles as they closed in. You messed with Miss Xia. Today you are hitting a brick wall. The blonde ringleader cracked his knuckles with a cocky grin. Looking at this crowd, I sighed to myself. When it comes to raw strength and brawling, I'm not scared of anyone. But as the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. A tough guy can still get overwhelmed. If these 7 or 8 teenagers really rush me throwing wild punches all at once, even if I win, I'll probably get bruised up. Besides, I like keeping clean. If my uniform gets dirty, I'll have to wash it myself, and that is just too much trouble. System, stop playing dead. I called out in my mind. Host, I am Katiak and hurry up. Hurry up and give me some legendary martial arts body boxing or MMA mastery. The more, the better. Give me something where I can knock these kids out with one punch. The system seemed to glitch for a second. Host, our mission is to save the female lead, not to turn you into a school bully. Shut up, I snapped, cutting it off. These punks are about to jump me. If they cripple me, how am I going to school tomorrow? If I can't go to school, how do I protect the female lead? Hurry up, don't make me give you a 1-star review. Physical threat detected. Special skill library temporarily unlocked. Loading legendary, unlimited combat skills for the host. Loading complete. As the system's notification chimed, a massive, complex flood of memories poured into my brain. Countless muscle memories of striking power, joint weaknesses, and evasive footwork surged through my mind and integrated with my body, settling into every single nerve and muscle ending. I cracked my neck, letting out a sharp, satisfying sound. The rush of raw power and absolute control was incredible. What's wrong, kid scared stiff? Kneel down and beg Miss Xia for forgiveness right now, and maybe we will go easy on you. The blonde guy sneered. Seeing me stand there, he probably thought I was frozen in fear. With a smug grin, his heavy fist came flying straight for my face. Too slow. In my eyes, his movement was like a slow-motion replay at half speed. I stood my ground, not even shifting my feet, and simply tilted my head a fraction, as his huge fist grazed right past the tip of my nose. He froze in shock, clearly not expecting me to dodge it. Before he could even react, my hand shot out, locking onto his wrist with pinpoint precision. I threw my weight into my hips, twisting and slamming him down. The blonde guy let out a painful scream as he lost his balance completely. I threw him over my shoulder and slammed him hard onto the stone ground. With a heavy thud, he lay there clutching his back, groaning and gasping for air. The air around us instantly froze. The other guys, who had been acting so tough just seconds ago, were completely dumbfounded. No one expected that a slim, tall transfer student like me would strike so cleanly and decisively. What are you waiting for? Get him, all of you, together. Xia Wangson stamped her feet in panic behind them. They finally snapped out of their shock, exchanged glances, and rushed me with a loud roar, charging straight at me as, instead of backing away, I lunged right into the crowd. The legendary combat skills from the system were absolutely no joke. None of my moves had any useless flavor. They were all highly efficient, direct strikes. On my left, a chubby guy wearing a neighboring school's uniform swung a wild punch and I ducked, right under his wild swing. At the same time, I delivered a powerful, heavy elbow strike straight into his ribs. The guy squealed like a slaughtered pig, stumbling backward and landing flat on his butt. Meanwhile, on my right, a tall, skinny guy tried to sneak up on me from behind, but it was like I had eyes in the back of my head. I whipped around with a powerful spin kick, planting it squarely on his chest. He flew back to meet us, slammed into the wall, and slid down. Dodging, blocking, punching, sweeping Yai was like a wolf among sheep, weaving through them effortlessly. These kids with nothing but brute force couldn't even touch the hem of my shirt. In less than 3 minutes, the alley was filled with Oh, my leg. It hurt so much. The 7 or 8 guys who had been acting incredibly smug were now scattered all over the floor, clutching their stomachs or arms, groaning in agonizing pain. I casually brushed imaginary dust off my hands, my breathing perfectly steady, I muttered, sweeping a cold, disdainful look over the pathetic crowd on the ground. Aside from their miserable groans, the only sound left in the entire alley was Shia Wangsun's heavy, panicked breathing. Anyone else? I turned to look at Shia Wangsun, who was standing a few meters away. This bossy, arrogant princess had completely lost her commanding aura from earlier. Her beautiful almond-shaped eyes were wide with sheer shock, disbelief, and a trace of raw, unconcealable fear. She obviously didn't expect the group of thugs she paid for to not even last 3 minutes against me. Even Ultraman gets 3 full minutes of action. Seeing me advance toward her step by step, Shia Wangsun subconsciously backed away. Don't come near me, she warned, trying to play it cool, as she pointed a finger at me, but her trembling voice completely betrayed her inner panic. Just try touching me. My dad is Shia. If you dare lay a hand on me, I will make sure you can't survive in this city. I ignored her threat, a playful smirk curving my lips as I kept closing in slowly. Approaching, Shia Wangsun backed away, looking at the useless trash on the ground and probably cursing them a million times in her head. Finally, with a soft thud, her back hit the cold, red brick wall. Nowhere left to run. I walked right up to her and stopped less than half a meter away. Shia Wangsun's breathing was shallow, her chest heaving rapidly. She forced herself to look up, glaring at me like a cornered wildcat still baring its teeth. I leaned in slightly, suddenly raising my left hand and slamming it against the wall right next to her cheek, trapping her between my arm and the brick, your entire body between my arm and the wall. It was a textbook wall slam. Feeling the intense pressure coming from me, Shia Wangsun froze, pressing herself tightly against the brick, not even daring to take a breath. We were so incredibly close that I could clearly smell the faint scent on her, high-end citrus mixed with cedarwood. It was fresh but cold, perfectly fitting her frosty personality. I could also clearly see her long eyelashes trembling from sheer nervousness, and her gorgeous face, which was pale from the fright. So, you still think it's a good idea to bring people to corner me? I lowered my head and whispered directly into her ear, keeping my voice low, teasing, and slightly provocative. Miss Shia is indeed quite spoiled and vengeful, aren't you? Shia Wangsun bit her lower lip, turning her head away to avoid looking at me, but a faint pink blush crept up her pale neck. I didn't back off. Instead, I leaned another inch closer, letting my eyes sweep over her black biker jacket as I teased. And you came pretty prepared, even calling in students from other schools. Looks like your prestige as a wealthy young mistress works well on the streets, not just at school. None of your business. Shia Wangsun finally snapped back, but her voice lacked any real confidence. I'm not trying to interfere, I chuckled, staring directly into her eyes as my tone turned playful. I'm just a bit curious, why isn't your little simp Lu Jingshan around to protect you? Doesn't he usually love hovering around you all day? Or has he found a brand new target to simp for, leaving you in the dust? From the very start, I noticed Lu Jingcheng wasn't among the crowd blocking me. These words clearly hit Shia Wangsun's sore spot. Her fearful gaze instantly turned to burning rage. She snapped her head back to glare at me, her eyes tearing up slightly with anger. Shut up. I don't care who he simps for. What does it have to do with me? Since when do I need his protection? Seeing her stubborn, fragile pride, I found it quite amusing. Just then I raised my free right hand. Seeing my movement, Shia Wangsun's pupils shrunk in panic, instinctively thinking I was going to hit her. She squeezed her eyes shut in terror, her long eyelashes trembling violently as she tightly gripped her jacket like a prisoner awaiting a harsh sentence. However, the expected slap never came. Instead, I simply slid my hand into the pocket of her leather biker jacket. Shia Wangsun froze in confusion, opening her eyes only to see me pulling out her smartphone. It was the latest iPhone model, housed in what looked like an incredibly expensive custom designer case. What are you doing? Give it back. Shia Wangsun instinctively snatched for it, but I simply held the screen up to her face. With a soft click, the facial recognition unlocked the device instantly. Ignoring her murderous, glaring gaze, I casually opened up her social media app and scanned her QR code with my own phone to add her my contact list. The whole process was completely seamless, taking only a few quick seconds. Once done, I slipped her phone back into her jacket pocket and took a step back to give her some space. What'd you take my phone for? She stammered. Shia Wangsun obviously hadn't processed my sudden train of thought, staring at me in complete bewilderment. Why are you so tense? I waved my phone, showing our new friend's status on the screen. Just giving you my contact info, of course. She stood there completely dazed, looking back and forth between me and her pocket, her brain seemingly unable to process what had just happened. You pinned me against the wall and snatched my phone just to add me on WeChat. Otherwise, to ravish you, I smirked, looking her up and down. Though this does make it easier for you to ravish me next time. Just let me know in advance so I can dress up first. Shia Wangsun nearly exploded with rage. Any fear she had built up instantly evaporated, completely replaced by a strong urge to strangle me on the spot. Get lost. Who wants to ravish you? I ignored her anger, looking past her at the empty, quiet alley. To corner me. You didn't even let your family chauffeur pick you up, did you? I put away my phone and asked in a calm voice. So, now that the trashy broad is all down, do you need me to reluctantly walk you home? Shy Wangson laughed mockingly as if she had heard the funniest joke. Walk me home? Lin Yifan, are you crazy? You just beat up my people, and now you want to walk me home. Do you really think that is possible? Get lost. Even if I have to walk back, I don't want you walking me. Fine. Have it your way. I won't force you. I was just asking anyway. I turned around, shoving my hands back into my pockets and strolled slowly toward the other end, off the alley. After a few steps I stopped. Without turning around, I just faced away from her and yelled in a lazy, drawn-out tone. Don't you dare delete my contact info. If I find out tomorrow morning that you blocked me, I will lick your hand again at school. Behind me, Shy Wangson's furious screams instantly echoed. Lin Yifan, you absolute creep. Go to hell. Hearing her angry curses, the corners of my mouth curled up into a wide grin, and I strolled out of the alley in a great mood. Host the system's confused voice echoed in my head. I don't really get your moves, your plan. Aren't we supposed to protect the female lead? What is the point of flirting with this female antagonist? And why did you add her on WeChat? Walking down the street as the city lights started to glow, I looked at the dim streetlights and replied calmly in my mind, indirect salvation. No, the system replied honestly. The system was very honest. In the original story, 80% of Su Qingqing's suffering came from Xia Wangson's constant targeting. The remaining 20% came from that idiot Lu Jincheng's hesitation. I calmly explained to the system in my mind, if I just act as a simple bodyguard and stay by her side, following Su Qingqing around all day, Xia Wangson has 100 ways to cause trouble, and it would be impossible to prevent them all. But if I shift all of her attention to me, shift her attention, so you deliberately provoked her. It wasn't because she is pretty and you wanted to flirt. Hey, absolutely not. That husky pointing meme. Yeah, triggering her is just step one. I saw. If you read the original novel, you know Xia Wangson isn't actually evil. Her parents are self-made millionaires, too busy chasing deals to see her. She basically grew up in a toxic bubble of fake friends and endless flattery. Everyone around her either wants her cash or fears her family's power. In the original plot, she didn't torment Su Qingqing because she was madly in love with Lu Jincheng. It was because Su Qingqing stole her spotlight. To make things worse, even Lu Jin, who used to follow her around like a loyal dog, ended up jumping ship. For a girl who is starved of affection and desperate for attention, that was a brutal betrayal. It completely crushed her pride. I stopped walking and looked up at the night sky. The more people coddled her and fed her ego, the emptier she actually felt inside. So, dealing with a spoiled tsundere heiress means you never stroke her ego. You have to rub her the wrong way. I beat up her goons, teased her, and laughed off her threats. I want her to realize there is one person on this earth her wealth cannot buy. If her hatred or her curiosity eventually outweighs her jealousy of Su Qingqing, then our female lead is safe. The system went quiet for a long while before buzzing in my head. Host, you are incredibly shameless. I looked down at my plain school uniform. Hey, I will proudly take that as a compliment. It is called strategic maneuvering. Maybe I terrified her back in that alley, or maybe the plot was correcting itself. But Shy Wangson targeted Su Qingqing again. Only this time, she got smart. No more trapping her in alleys with thugs. Instead, she started pulling petty, annoying stunts right inside the classroom. During the class break, Su Qingqing got up to get some water. Xia Wangson deliberately stretched her long leg out, blocking the aisle. Su Qingqing stood there holding her cup, absolutely terrified to step over, with tears welling up in her eyes. That was exactly when I walked back in from the restroom. Seeing the drama, I walked right up, ignored Su Qingqing, and tapped the toe of my shoe against Xia Wangson's leg. Hey, good dogs don't block the road, Miss Xia Longlegs. So what? Pull them back or get dirty. I literally just stepped out of the boys' bathroom. That got her. She yanked her leg back like she had been electrocuted, glaring daggers at me. Lin Yifan, you are absolutely disgusting. I just smirked and strolled past her. Su Qingqing quickly followed my lead and slipped back to his seat. She blushed, whispering a soft thank you, but I did not even look back. I just pulled out my chair and sat down. Do not sweat it. I just hated looking at her leg. Su Qingqing blinked, then quietly looked down. Right on cue, Lu Jincheng, who had been playing dead to see how things played out, finally decided to act. He slid over to her desk looking deeply concerned. Are you okay, Qingqing? I was just about to step in. Wangson is just too spoiled. But do not worry. I will protect you. I almost threw up my lunch. Hey, Prince Charming. I turned around and let him have it. Is your brain on a 2G network? Does your reaction time take 5 business days? The girl already got bullied, and now you are playing the hero. If caring guys rank behind dogs, you are at the very back of the line. Stop playing pretend. Lu Jincheng's face turned red, then pale. Lin Yifan, do not cross the line. Yeah, run along. You are ruining my fresh air. I scoffed. Lu Jinqing pointed a trembling finger at me but swallowed his words. He had probably heard rumors about my fight in the alley and did not want to test his luck. After a few more of these petty clashes, Xia Wangxin finally realized that whenever I was around, she was bound to lose. So, this rich girl actually used her limited brain power to cook up a scheme. Thursday afternoon was gym class, and our classmates bolted to the field like wild dogs. The room emptied out instantly. I faked a stomachache to linger in the bathroom for a bit, waiting for the perfect moment. After waiting around, I slowly walked back to the building. Just as I was about to head outside, I spotted Xia Wangxin sneaking through the back door of the classroom. I peeked through the window and watched her pull out a thick envelope of cash and shove it deep into Su Qingqing's backpack. Then, she slipped away like a guilty cat. Host, this is the iconic scene. The system squealed in my head. I know, I thought, watching her disappear. Why else would I pretend to have diarrhea? This is a major plot point from the novel. Xia Wangxin takes the entire class fund and plants it in Su Qingqing's bag to frame her. In the original story, Su Qingqing had no way to prove her innocence, got completely ostracized, and almost dropped out. But the absolute worst part, Lu Jinqing actually saw the security footage. He knew exactly what happened. But to protect Xia Wangxin and manipulate Su Qingqing into leaning on him, he hid the tape. He played a sick psychological game, pretending to be her savior when she hit rock bottom. What a total I cursed him in my head as I walked inside and unzipped Su Qingqing's bag. I pulled the cash envelope out. System, today I am going to ruin this idiot's entire plan in record time. I grabbed the cash and strolled down to our teacher's office. The door was slightly open, and the desk was empty. I casually tossed the envelope right in the middle of it. I even placed his mug on top so it would not blow away. Job well done. I dusted off my hands, walked down to the field, and played some basketball. 40 minutes later, gym class ended. Everyone trooped back in, sweating, grabbing water, and heading to the bathrooms. Suddenly, the class rep stood up and shrieked. The class fund in my drawer is gone. The room went dead silent. That was over 8,000 yuan. Everyone had been outside, so the room should have been empty. Xia Wangxin fake looked around before locking her eyes onto Su Qingqing. Su Qingqing, you were late for roll call. Did you sneak back here? Su Qingqing turned pale, waving her hands in a panic. No, I was just in the restroom. Who can prove that? Everyone knows you are broke and struggle to even buy a soda. Who is to say you did not steal it out of greed? Xia Wangxin pushed hard, conveniently ignoring that I was actually later than Su Qingqing. Just then, our teacher walked in with his folders. He frowned deeply after hearing the news. This is serious. Su Qingqing, do you mind if I look through your bag? Sir, I really did not take it. Su Qingqing cried, handing her backpack over. Xia Wangxin smirked, completely satisfied. She was already practicing the insults she would throw when the money fell out. But as our teacher emptied the bag and searched every single pocket, nothing fell out except textbooks and crumpled notes. Not even a single coin. The teacher shook his head. It is not in here. Xia Wangxin's smirk froze instantly. How can it not be there? She blurted out, her eyes nearly popping out. I watched her from the door. She looked like she had just swallowed a fly, and I nearly laughed out loud. Wangxin, what is that supposed to mean? Why is it impossible? Lu Jinqing stepped up, frowning. He clearly saw this as a golden opportunity to look rational and heroic. If it is not there, she is innocent. Teacher, why don't we just check the security cameras to see who took it? The moment those words left his mouth, Xia Wangxin turned pale as a sheet. She whipped her head up toward the camera above the board. Because nobody ever checked those things, she had completely forgotten they even existed. If they pulled the tape, the entire class would watch her plant the cash. She would be completely ruined. Her body started to tremble uncontrollably, and cold sweat broke out all over her palms. Just as the teacher nodded and reached for his phone to call security, I strolled back into the room like I had just finished in the bathroom. Hey, you guys looking for some money? Everyone turned to look at me, and Xia Wangxin stared at me like I was her absolute last hope. What do you mean? Our teacher asked, totally confused. Oh, you mean that envelope? I stretched lazily. Halfway through gym class, I came back because I was thirsty. The second I walked in, I saw a thick envelope lying in the middle of the aisle. It was stuffed with bills. I paused, enjoying the sight of Xia Wangxin, holding her breath in sheer panic. I continued, I had no idea who lost it or what it was for. But being an honest guy, I took it straight to your office. This was before the two of us transferred in anyway, so do not blame me for not knowing about the class funds. The teacher blinked. You came to my office. I was in a staff meeting. Yeah, you were out. I shrugged innocently. I did not know when you would return, so I left the envelope under your mug. Then I went back to play. Our teacher smacked his forehead. Oh, I came straight to class and never went back to my desk. Let me go look. The heavy tension in the room vanished instantly. Oh, so Lin Yifan found it. I thought we had a real thief. Suddenly, I heard girls whispering that I was cool. I turned around and gave a knowing half-smile to Xia Wangxin, whose face was still completely white. She bit her lip, unable to say a single word, her chest heaving with heavy breaths. After school, I threw my bag over my shoulder and strolled home. but at the usual alleyway I froze. Same spot, same girl, only this time, she did not have her usual gang of pathetic thugs behind her. She stood there entirely alone, leaning against the weathered brick wall. The evening sun cast a warm golden glow over her flashy jacket, making her look surprisingly fragile. She had her head down, kicking a pebble back and forth, completely lost in thought. Honestly, there's one thing I will never understand. We leave the exact same classroom at the exact same time. So how does she always beat me here? She even has time to change. Hearing my footsteps, she looked up, her gorgeous eyes locking onto mine. I raised an eyebrow, slipped my hands into my pockets, and walked up to her. Well, Miss Shia is all alone today. I gave her a slow look, a smug smirk tugging at my lips. You could not take me down with a whole gang last time, but today you were cornering me alone. Did you finally decide to take matters into your own hands and rob me of my virtue? Shut up. Nobody wants to do that. Her face flushed red, stomping her foot in embarrassment. She was clearly lacking her usual arrogance today. Her anger felt like a total paper tiger. I did not say a word, just watched her with a faint smirk. My silence made her nervous. She quickly looked away, biting her lip, before she finally could not resist asking. She launched right into her classics under interrogation. Why did you help me in class today? Help you with what? I played dumb. Do not play stupid with me, she snapped, glaring at me. You knew I put the cash in her bag. If you had exposed me, I would be ruined. So why did you say you found it? Seeing her desperate for answers but trying so hard to look tough, I finally dropped the playful act. I took a step closer. She instinctively tried to back away, only to realize her back was already flat against the wall. I did not expose you because I know you are not actually a bad person. I looked down into her eyes with total sincerity. She froze, a flicker of shock crossing her face. Do not look at me like that. Did you think I just teased you for fun? I sighed. My voice softened as I continued. I know about your family. Your parents are busy making millions and barely see you. You grew up surrounded by people who either wanted your money or feared your family's influence. None of them ever cared about what you actually wanted. Her pupils dilated, her lips parted, but she could not find any words. You play the role of the spoiled, thorny princess, but you are actually just starving for affection. I stripped away her armor piece by piece, exposing her vulnerable side. You did not target Su Chinkin because you are evil. You are just terrified. You are scared her innocent act will steal the spotlight. You are scared that even Lu Jincheng, who always followed you, will abandon you. You are just like a kid who wants candy but does not know how to ask. So you use the worst possible methods. The alley was incredibly quiet, with only the occasional evening breeze rustling the leaves. Xia Wangxin bit her lip hard, her eyes turning visibly red. The tough undershell she always wore had been completely shattered by just a few words. Me, exposing her vulnerability. She was right on the verge of tears, but she still refused to admit defeat. Looking up sharply, she yelled at me in a fluster. You are talking complete nonsense. What makes you think you know me so well? She took a breath, trying to hide her emotion, and quickly changed the subject. Not bad by nature, then why do you always help Su Chinking at school? Are you just like that idiot Lu Jincheng falling for her just because she looks innocent? Seeing her like this, I could barely hold back my laughter. Who told you I was helping her? I asked. Red-eyed, she snapped back. Then why do you always interfere when I trouble her? And why do you always clash with Lu Jin? Don't tell me you are not just trying to show off in front of her. Show off in front of her. I shook my head, leaned down, and brought my face close just inches from her nose. Her breath caught, and she immediately tried to hold it. Xia Wangxin, are you stupid? I stared into her eyes, my voice dropping to a low, teasing whisper. Don't you know that sometimes, a guy only picks on the girl he actually likes? Those words were like a depth charge exploding inside her mind. Her face instantly flushed from a soft pink to a deep tomato red, even her earlobes burning. Her brain had completely short-circuited, and her eyes darted around in pure panic. What do you mean? She stammered, still trying to play dumb, unable to believe what she had just heard. I did not answer. When dealing with a Sunda, actions speak much louder than words. I tilted my head, leaned in close, and my warm lips precisely pressed against her soft lips. It was just a gentle, fleeting touch. No deep kiss, just a soft press. Yet, it was enough to completely freeze her. She widened her beautiful eyes, standing perfectly still as if under a spell, forgetting to even breathe. It took her a few seconds to snap out of it. She suddenly shoved my shoulder, covered her mouth, and stammered, what are you doing? The usual arrogant, domineering tone was completely gone, replaced by a soft, trembling shyness she probably did not even realize. She looked like a pampered cat. Seeing her so incredibly cute, I took a deep breath and decided to deliver the final blow. Actually, I lied to you about one thing just now. Xia Wangxin kept her hand over her mouth, looking at me with total confusion. I really did stop you at school to keep you from bullying Su Chinking, I said, looking at her seriously. She froze, the sweet look in her eyes instantly turning cold, thinking I was messing with her again. But before she could blow up, I quickly added, because I did not want you to be seen as a bad girl. Xia Wangsun looked up sharply. You do not need to be jealous of anyone, and you do not have to worry about Su Qingqing stealing your spotlight. I gently tucked a lock of hair behind her ear, my fingers brushing her burning cheek, because you are always the most special one to me. Even the sunset seemed to fade. Xia Wangsun covered her mouth, tears finally spilling over. I looked straight into her eyes and said, clearly and firmly, I like you, Xia Wangsun. Hearing this completely direct confession, she froze as if struck by lightning. She stood there, completely dazed. Her tears forgot to fall, replaced by a blush that rushed from her neck all the way to her hairline. You, she stammered, unable to form a single sentence. Then, this girl, who was usually so domineering and arrogant, suddenly shoved me away. She spun around and bolted like a startled rabbit. As she ran, she threw back an embarrassed, slightly cracked shout without looking back. Lin, you are out of your mind. Watching her almost run with tangled limbs out of the alley, I rubbed my chin and laughed. The Sunda era is officially over. Now it is all about the blushing maidens. The system inside my head muttered, Host, you really have some moves. But viewers should definitely not copy this. Since that direct confession in the alley, this little spicy pepper Xia Wangsun was completely under my thumb. The clearest proof was that she never bothered Su Qingqing again. Taking advantage of this, I even gave her a little suggestion. Aren't you worried about Su Qingqing stealing your spotlight? Here is a pro move. Just recruit her, make her your little follower. You keep the spotlight, and it makes you look like a generous boss. She snorted at first, but she immediately went and did exactly that. As it turned out, the innocent female lead from the original novel was not just submissive, she was also incredibly insecure. Faced with Xia Wangsun's sudden, bossy friendliness, Su Qingqing was terrified at first, but she quickly realized there was no real malice. Within 2 days, Su Qingqing willingly accepted Xia Wangsun's friendship, even becoming her little shadow. This kind of aggressive friendship felt way more wholesome than the original forced romance. Hey, Lin Yifan, it is break time, Xia Wangsun called out during recess. She waited until no one was around and ran to my desk, practically begging for praise. Your idea actually worked, she whispered proudly. Su Qingqing is such a pushover. I bought her a few snacks, asked her for help with homework, and she actually called me Sister Shin. Look how obedient she is now. Seeing the pride in her eyes, I reached out and ruffled her hair. Great job, I knew my Wangsun had a heart of gold. Who is yours? Hands off, she muttered, swatting my hand away. A blush rushed to her cheeks, but she was not actually mad. I leaned back in my chair, looking over at Lu Jincheng, who was trying to talk to Su Qingqing. Time for my next move. By the way, since she is under your protection now, as her boss, shouldn't you vet her social circle? I smirked, gesturing toward Lu Jin. Xia Wangsun looked over, her brow instantly furrowing. Just look at him, I whispered, fanning the flames. He used to follow you around like a lost puppy. Now the moment you ignore him, he runs off to flirt with Su Qingqing. He wants to keep his options open and play both sides, doesn't he? Xia Wangsun never liked him anyway, and hearing this made her find him completely repulsive. Her opinion of him instantly tanked. So disgusting, she muttered, rolling her eyes. How did I not see through him earlier? Exactly, I said, nudging her. Su Qingqing is too naive to spot a player. As her sister Shin, you should warn her not to get fooled by a two-faced hypocrite. You are totally right, she agreed, her sense of justice suddenly flaring up. No way I am letting a creep ruin my follower. She marched back to her seat. A minute later she pulled Su Qingqing aside and whispered to her, pointing right at Lu Jin. Su Qingqing listened with a dazed expression, her eyes filling with instant caution when she looked at Lu Jin. Later, when Lu Jinchen walked over with a math problem, trying to act like a gentleman, Su Qingqing immediately shrank behind Xia Wangsun, as if he were a plague. Classmate Lu, I have to help Sister Shin right now. Please ask someone else. Lu Jincheng froze, his face looking worse than if he had swallowed a fly. The system sighed in my mind. Host, I feel completely useless now. Keep learning, buddy, I replied. Time flew by. With my daily whispering, careful guidance, Xia Wangsun found Lu Jinchen more and more repulsive. Whenever he came within 10 feet of her, she would wave her hand in disgust as if she smelled something foul. As her #1 fan, Su Qingqing followed Sister Shin's lead, also keeping her distance from him. The original male lead, who was supposed to be a smooth player juggling both girls, was completely sidelined. Every time he tried to act cool or romantic, he was met with Xia Wangsun's eye rolls and Su Qingqing's cold-shouldered. Original female lead's safety level is now at 100%. The tragic romance plot is destroyed. Mission accomplished. One afternoon, the system's cheerful voice rang in my mind. Host, you are amazing. You did not just make the villainess your girlfriend. You turned her into the female lead's personal shield. I am requesting a special award for you. I smiled, keeping a low profile. Soon, graduation day arrived. The school was filled with bittersweet nostalgia and excitement for the future. Everyone was taking photos on the sports field and signing each other's uniforms. I was leaning against a tree, drinking water, when a small hand tugged at my shirt. I turned to see Shia Wan. She had ditched her signature leather jacket today for a clean white shirt and a pleated skirt. Lin Yifan, come with me. Before I could say a word, she grabbed my wrist with a blushing face and pulled me out of the school gates. We took a few turns and stopped at a very familiar spot, the alley where she first cornered me. The setting sun dyed the brick walls crimson. The only difference was that the once arrogant young lady was now looking down, nervously fidgeting with her hands, her neck flushed red. The alley was quiet, filled only with our breathing. Why did you bring me here? I asked. I leaned against the wall, hands in my pockets, teasing her on purpose. Is the young lady finally going to make her move and kidnap me today? Be serious. She glared, though her eyes had lost all their bite, looking watery and sweet. She took a deep breath, gathered her courage, and looked straight into my eyes, her voice trembling slightly. Lin Yifan, does what you said to me in this alley still count? Which part? The part where I asked you to take off your white socks. I teased. We said that in the classroom. She stomped her foot, puffing her cheeks, and finally managed to blurt out, I mean, do you still like me? Seeing her so nervous she could barely breathe, I stopped joking. My eyes softened. I stepped closer, reached out, and gently pinched her warm, flushed cheek. I told you, you will always be the most special one in my heart. But that romantic line did not seem to fully satisfy her need for security. She wrinkled her nose, pouting slightly as her slender side peeked through again. So, do you like me or not? She pressed, looking at her beautiful face so close to mine. I could not resist. I leaned down and placed a soft kiss on her forehead. Then, looking straight into her eyes, I gave her a sincere, firm answer. I love you. Hearing those words, her anxiety vanished instantly, replaced by radiant joy. Her eyes curved into beautiful crescents as she smiled, wrapping her arms around my waist and burying her face in my chest. Lin Yifan, I love you too, she whispered, her voice incredibly sweet. The setting sun stretched our shadows long, drawing a perfect ending in this alleyway where it all began.